Today, we're exploring a very important topic: the different theories of revelation in the Islamic tradition. Revelation is central to Islam as it forms the foundation of the Qur'an, the divine guidance for humanity. But Muslims throughout history have understood and explained the nature of revelation in various ways, influenced by theological, philosophical, and mystical perspectives. Let's explore these theories and who or which schools of thought adopt them. But before we do that, let me say this. The vast majority of Muslims, be they Sunni or Shia, traditionalist or modernist, conservative or liberal, take the position that the Qur'an is a revelation from God and it is divine. But when it comes to the details, there are different understandings of what is meant by revelation and what divine means. Let's look at the literalist or traditionalist theory. This theory or view is often associated with an early Muslim school of thought, the al-Hadith. Later, this became part of Hanbali theology. For them, revelation, wahi, is the direct and unmediated word of God. This means the Qur'an as revelation is the exact word or speech of God. Revelation is transmitted to humanity through the Prophet Muhammad in the form of the Qur'an. The Qur'an in Arabic language in its entirety is therefore the literal word of God. The Qur'an in Arabic is eternal. How does this work? In this view, the angel Gabriel, the angel responsible for revelation, is a purely passive intermediary who delivers God's words exactly as God spoke to the Prophet Muhammad. The Prophet in turn conveys the revelation in the same words as he received, without any influence from his own understanding or personality. This is like transmission of an audio recording as it is to the followers of Prophet Muhammad. This theory is adopted by traditionalist scholars such as Ahmad ibn Hanbal, as well as many contemporary Salafi scholars. They emphasize the Qur'an's divine origin. They reject any suggestion that the Prophet had any interpretive role in revelation. The Prophet was simply a passive receiver of revelation and simply transmitted what he received in Arabic to his followers in Arabic. Other Muslims see significant problems with key aspects of this theory of revelation. Let's look at the Mutazili theory of revelation now. The Mutazili theory of revelation reflects their rationalist and theological principles. Mutazili school is one of the earliest theological schools in Islam. The Mutazilis believe that the Qur'an is revelation, but the Qur'an in Arabic language is created and that it is not eternal. For them, the Qur'an came into existence when God chose to reveal it, and at that time, God created it. This position is related to one of the key theological positions Mutazilis adopted about God's unity, or Tawheed. Mutazilis believed that a belief in God's speech as an eternal attribute could compromise his unity, or Tawheed. The Mu'tazilis believed the Qur'an as God's speech was delivered in a human language for people to understand. The Qur'an as revelation is created by God in time. This theory was adopted by Mu'tazili theologians, but it faced opposition from traditionalists as well as Asharis and Maturidis. Let's now look at the Ashari and Maturidi view, which is revelation as eternal speech of God. The Ashari and Maturidi theological schools are the dominant Sunni schools of Kalam, or Islamic theology. Together, they represent the vast majority of Sunni Muslims. They add some philosophical depth to the concept of revelation. For the Asharis and Maturidis, revelation is part of God's eternal attribute of speech, Kalam Allah in Arabic. This eternal attribute of speech of God exists beyond time and space. As human beings, we really do not have direct access to that. However, what we have as the Qur'an is an expression of that eternal speech. How does this work? The aris and Maturidis argue that God's eternal speech was made comprehensible to humans through a human language, that is, Arabic. They tried to reconcile the Qur'an's divine nature with its transmission in a human language. Who holds this view? Prominent Ash'ari theologians like al-Baqillani and al-Juwayni, as well as Maturidi scholars like al-Maturidi himself, adopt this view. This remains the dominant position among Sunni Muslims today. Let's look at the philosophical view, which is revelation as intellect. Muslim philosophers, influenced by Greek philosophy, offer a rationalist explanation of revelation. Philosophers like al-Farabi and Ibn Sina developed this theory. For these philosophers, revelation is the product of a perfected human intellect that is capable of receiving divine knowledge. The Prophet's intellect is seen as uniquely capable of connecting with what they call the active intellect. This active intellect is a metaphysical entity responsible for transmitting divine truths. How does it work? In this view, revelation is not a word-for-word dictation in Arabic from God to the Prophet. For these philosophers, revelation is a process in which divine truths are filtered through the Prophet's mind and expressed in a language comprehensible to humans. There is a significant role for the Prophet in expressing revelation in his own language. It is in this case Arabic. This philosophical perspective is associated with Muslim philosophers like al-Farabi and Ibn Sina. Although this view is influential in intellectual circles, it faced criticism from traditionalist theologians as well as Ash'ari and Maturidi theologians. A well-known figure who criticized this theory is the Ash'ari theologian al-Ghazali. Now let's look at the mystical or Sufi theory, which is revelation as illumination. The mystical or Sufi tradition provides a deeply spiritual interpretation of revelation. It focuses on the experiential aspect of divine communication. For many mystics or Sufis, revelation is seen as an illumination or unveiling of divine truths, or kashf in Arabic. The Prophet, in his perfect state of purity and proximity to God, becomes the recipient of this divine light. The Prophet then translates this divine light into human language. How does it work? Sufis or mystics emphasize the idea that the Prophet attained spiritual perfection and his heart was purified to reflect divine knowledge. For them, revelation is less about words and more about divine realities that transcend human comprehension. Prominent Sufis like Ibn Arabi and Rumi adopt this perspective. While not a direct contradiction of mainstream Sunni theology, this Sufi perspective focuses more on the mystical aspects of revelation. Let's now look at the modernist contextualist view. In modern times, some Muslim thinkers have proposed contextualist theories of revelation. There are a range of such theories. They are focused on addressing contemporary challenges. Some modernists like Fazlur Rahman see a role for the Prophet in the composition of the Qur'an, while others do not. It is difficult to summarize all these different theories of modernists and contextualists. What I am providing is a simplified version of very complex debates. For many modernists and contextualists, The Qur'an as revelation is viewed as God's response, first and foremost, to the specific historical and social needs of the Prophet's time. The Qur'an initially was a direct response to the situation in Arabia, in places like Mecca and Medina. While the Qur'an remains divine, its guidance is understood in light of the context in which it was revealed. How does it work? This view of revelation often suggests that the Qur'an contains both timeless principles and context-specific rulings, which require reinterpretation to address modern realities and issues. Scholars like Fazlur Rahman and Amina Wadud, among others, adopt this perspective. Their work often emphasizes the ethical and moral dimensions of the Qur'an over literalist interpretations. Many modernist contextualists are influenced by the ideas of early rationalist theological schools, including the Maturidis and Muslim philosophers. Let's now look at the Shia perspectives on revelation. In the Shia tradition, the understanding of revelation includes unique elements tied to their theological framework. Revelation is seen as perfect and divine, but it is complemented by the infallible understanding of the Imams, who are considered divinely guided interpreters of the Qur'an. How does it work? Shia theology emphasizes that the Imam's role ensures the preservation and correct interpretation of revelation. This safeguards the revelation, that is the Qur'an, from misinterpretation. This understanding of revelation is central to Twelver Shia Islam, as articulated by scholars like al-Kulaini. The Ismailis among the Shia go well beyond this and adopt a more philosophical view of revelation. Ismaili view of revelation is closer to the Muslim philosophers' understanding. As we can see, there are many theories of revelation or different ways of understanding the Qur'an as revelation among Muslims. What I have presented is just a sketch of some theories. These theories range from the literalist view, emphasizing direct divine speech, to philosophical and mystical interpretations, focusing on intellect and spiritual illumination. Each theory provides a unique lens through which to understand the Qur'an's divine message. These theories are not just academic exercises. They influence how Muslims read the Qur'an, engage with its teachings, and apply its guidance in their lives. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more lectures in this series as we explore the Qur'an's history, themes, and interpretation, as well as related debates today. Subscribe and turn on notifications to catch the next lecture in the series.